Despite our efforts in asking for change, we have not seen meaningful progression or willingness to address these concerns. We owe it to Alberta cattle producers to ensure their dollars are invested in organizations that will align with their values and priorities.
Within the next 2 weeks, we're going to be issuing a draft interim constitution for an independent Alberta so that Albertans can understand how much more their rights will be protected and respected in an independent Alberta, as opposed to the mess that we've got right now with a Westminster Parliament in Edmonton and a Westminster Parliament in Ottawa that have no respect for us as citizens because they regard us as subjects.
Hey everybody, it's PJ. It seems Albertans continue to move towards completely separating from Canada with each passing day. I mean, every week it feels like another Alberta institution is quietly cutting the cord. First, it was the oil and gas industry, creating their own deals with the United States to ship more oil south of the border, and now the agricultural sector is also joining in. Alberta's beef industry, which is a big chunk of the provincial economy, has announced that by 2026 they'll be completely separating from their Canadian counterparts. Gotta love the timing, right? That's the same year Albertans head to the polls to vote on independence. And then you have groups like the Alberta Prosperity Project already drafting an interim constitution, modeled after the American one, with real protections for free speech and even gun rights, like the Second Amendment. We're going to be covering this and other details you're not going to want to miss. So let's get into it. Very quickly though, if you enjoy these videos, please do me a solid and subscribe. It's free and you can always unsubscribe later if you change your mind. Thank you, and back to the video.
We're in a marathon here. This is not a sprint. And we have to gird ourselves for those who support independence and reforming Canada, through which independence can cause, and Alberta becoming a free and independent country. This is not a short journey. This is a difficult climb, but it's totally doable in my view. And I've tried to think of every way that they could, the federal government, the Laurentian elite, those who have an economic interest, who profit from Albertans' hard work and exploit it, could try to mess this up. And everything I've thought of, there's a workaround to defeat it. We know that the resources that will be available to the government to deliver critical services are going to go through the roof, right? Like they're really going to be easier for government. The cost of living will go down. Housing affordability and rent affordability will go up. It will be a tremendous opportunity for our young people to have a prosperous future. We could become a role model in how, if you remove excessive regulations and red tape and create an environment for businesses to thrive, that the prosperity that will bring, that will lift us all up and create a remarkable opportunity for Albertans. So there's a lot of optimism out there. I think it's real. It's well-founded.
If anybody stands to gain the most from independence, it's Alberta's younger generation. Right now, they're stuck with the fallout of Canada's broken system. Owning a house? Forget it. A decent job? Not when businesses are rewarded for hiring cheap foreign workers. And the jobs they do get barely cover rent and food, let alone building a future. It's no wonder so many are fed up. Independence actually offers a way out. Lower taxes, less immigration, the deportation of illegal immigrants, and a cost of living that doesn't require you to sell a kidney to survive. Of course, Canada's ruling class isn't going to just let Alberta walk away. They'll pull every dirty trick in the book, because keeping Alberta shackled means keeping the cash flowing to the east. But history shows us, from Brexit to the Velvet Divorce, when people want freedom badly enough, nothing can stop them.
The Alberta beef producers have announced plans to leave the Canadian Cattle Association. APB has taken issue with the association's governance and a lack of Alberta representation. Quinn Keenan has more.
About 50% of the Canadian Cattle Association's funding comes from Alberta beef producers, but that may soon change. ABP says it intends to split from the CCA when their agreement ends June 30th, 2026.
Right at the moment, we are still a member of CCA and will work with them in all areas of national development as we move forward.
The producers say they're concerned about the CCA's governance and fiscal transparency. They suggested bringing in an independent third party to review the governance structure. Only a third of the CCA's 27-member board is from Alberta, despite bringing in half the money.
Despite our efforts in asking for change, we have not seen meaningful progression or willingness to address these concerns. We owe it to Alberta cattle producers to ensure their dollars are invested in organizations that will align with their values and priorities.
The CCA was surprised by the announcement. They admit the ABP leaving would be a huge financial blow.
Quite simply did not anticipate any kind of an announcement like that, and very disappointed. I found, I was really preparing to engage in a lot of the issues that they had raised.
There's a belief on both sides that a deal could be reached before the ABP's exit. Conversations since the announcement have helped clarify Alberta's concerns.
I really feel like we're on the same page. We're both motivated to ensure that going forward, CCA is an effective, unified national voice for beef producers.
Alberta beef producers will stick to their financial commitments up until its intended departure date.
This move by Alberta ranchers is honestly a perfect snapshot of a bigger picture. Alberta provides over half of the budget for the Canadian Cattle Association, and in return, they only get a third of the representation. Classic Canada, right? Take Alberta's money, but ignore their voice. Well, the ranchers have finally had enough. They're cutting ties completely in 2026, which is the exact same year independence referendum is coming. It's almost like Albertans are starting to connect the dots. And of course, the head of Canada's Cattle Association says he's surprised and disappointed. Oh, really? Surprised that Albertans don't enjoy being treated like cash cows? Disappointed that they've stopped being the suckers of this federation? Yeah, Albertans know their worth now, and the rest of Canada better get used to seeing more and more of Alberta separating from anything Canada. That's why folks are realizing that independence isn't just an idea anymore. It's the only way forward at this point.
After independence, after fully costing and paying for an Alberta military at 3% of GDP with $1.5 billion in startup costs, Department of External Affairs, Department of Immigration, and most importantly, deportation, Department of Customs and Border Patrol, all those types of things, airports, navigation, tripling the spend on Indigenous people in the province of Alberta through constitutionalized resource revenue sharing to lift the Indigenous people of Alberta out of the poverty that Canada has left them in for 150 years. After paying for all of that, the fiscal plan that we published demonstrates that we're going to have between approximately a $30 to $50 billion a year annual fiscal capacity surplus, which could be applied to 30 to 50% tax cuts in year one. So we're very excited about it. The other thing that I wanted to note for people to go, oh, this is all pie in the sky and these numbers are ridiculous. Things can't be that good. This is too good to be true, all that nonsense. The funniest thing about this document, when we published it on the basis of last year's Alberta budget numbers, which showed a $6.5 billion deficit. So this year, they posted an $8.5 billion surplus. So if we'd waited a week before publishing the document, the fiscal capacity surplus of Alberta would have actually been $15 billion higher than is indicated in the plan that we published. So obviously, we're very excited about this document. I'm urging everybody that's interested in Alberta freedom and the value of freedom to go to albertaprosperity.project.com and download the document.
If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe and press the notifications bell so you never miss our daily updates. Subscribing is free, and you can always unsubscribe later if you change your mind. Thank you to all our channel members. I couldn't do this without your generosity. See you on the next one. Peace.